Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity. Hello, and welcome to Shedding the Bitch Radio, where you can discuss, debate, and get advice on how to discover and shed the bitches of fear, insecurity, self-doubt, and negative mindsets, so you can realize your dreams and life purpose, and create and accelerate the riches you want in life. Join us here live every Tuesday at noon Eastern and dialogue with us at 818-572-2910. You can also chat with us at Blog Talk Radio /SheddingTheBitch or share your stories on our website at SheddingTheBitch.com. Whatever the bitch is that's holding you back from living your life to the fullest, it's not worth giving up the riches in life that you deserve. So call in now and let Bernadette Bose know what's holding you back. 818-572-2910.
Good day, everyone. Happy Tuesday. Hot, steamy Tuesday, at least here in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm so excited that you're with us on this particular program because our favorite, not one of our favorites, our favorite guest over the last several years is in our studio. Yay!
Thanks for having me.
Oh, you're welcome. Catherine Carrigan, 9-time #1 bestseller. So we pulled out all the stuff. We're also videotaping this, recording this. So we're going to put it up on Apple Podcasts. We're going to put it up on YouTube. We're going to put it on SheddingTheBitch.com. She'll be sharing it. You'll be sharing it. And all of you will learn everything about her latest book and more so her latest tools and techniques for you to kind of reduce your stress, take a deep breath, and really hone in on how you can feel better naturally without drugs and all that. And we're going to get into all of that in just a second. So, excuse me. I just want to say thank you so much for the last couple of weeks allowing me to step away, go to a remote island in Ontario, Canada, no electricity, no Wi-Fi, periodic trips to a cafe on the mainland. We were literally on an island and would have to boat over to the mainland. It was fabulous. And as a result, we did provide you a double dose of our Ask Bernadette episodes that were done prior to my leaving. So hopefully you tuned in for both of those programs and you gained a lot of information regarding your career, business, or life. As well, I just want to remind you, too, some of the other great sticky, what I'll call sticky, that means that you love them and you're downloading them and you're streaming them. We've talked about shedding. What is it? I get a lot of times, what is shedding? I get what shedding the bitch is, but what is actually shedding? How do you do it? What are the pros and cons and all that kind of good stuff? So we had that conversation. We also got real about your efforts in interviewing should you be looking for a job, or even you could apply all the tips that we talked about to going and prospecting for new clients if you have your own business, or if you're just actually going out and engaging in your community. Our before, during, and after tips for job interviews has been very interesting for people. And therefore, LinkedIn is loving it, and social media is loving it. Take advantage of it. A great amount of tips were provided as to how you could actually up your game in whatever it is that you're trying to attract to you. And we did actually talk about law of attraction throughout that conversation. Let's see. And, of course, you can go to SheddingTheBitch.com, Apple Podcasts, Blog Talk Radio, to download all of our past episodes, including the previous ones, and they've been numerous, with our guest, Catherine Carrigan. So let's talk about what we're going to talk about today, shall we? Today's subject is the little book of breath work. Let's show them, shall we? So you'll see this. You can check out the video on YouTube, on Facebook. We'll share it everywhere. So you can also see our lovely faces as well. So what if there was a way you could improve the way you feel naturally, without drugs, anytime, anywhere, for free? Well, that's what her book answers. You can learn stress reduction through breathing, affirmations, and mantras. No pills, no therapist, just you, your thoughts, which I have a lot of questions about, your breath, and your body. So, Catherine's latest, number one Amazon bestsellers. The Little Book of Breathwork is a handbook you can use anytime, anywhere to lower your stress. So this is what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to get through it all. I'm not even going to run commercials. We can edit those in later. What you're going to learn is how to use breathing exercises to reduce high blood pressure, anxiety, depression, fatigue, insomnia, asthma, pain, sleep apnea, and breathing problems. Affirmations that will uplift your soul. And I'm a guru, or I shouldn't say guru. I'm a regular user of affirmations. And hand gestures, this is what I found interesting. Hand gestures called mudras. Am I pronouncing that right? Mudras. Shame on me. Mudras. You can use to increase your inner peace, emotional balance, creativity, and grounding. So let me tell you a little bit about Catherine. She taught yoga and breath work for 24 years. In her work as a medical intuitive healer, she teaches people how to heal themselves naturally without drugs. So I want to give you a quote from one of her clients. Some people think breathing is done with your lungs. Catherine makes it very clear that breathing comes from your entire being. I love that. We're going to talk more about that. All right. So what if you could reduce your stress normally? Breathwork, affirmations, and hand mudras are highly effective natural healing remedies. Let me give you an idea in case you're just wondering how this relates to you, and how you can use it for other people. Teenagers who refuse to talk about their challenges, you can help them with that. This and you could help them with that. Veterans suffering from PTSD can benefit from this handbook. High blood pressure, asthma, anxiety, insomnia. We mentioned a lot of these. Of course, stress, which definitely I could use. And Catherine is everywhere. Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, YouTube, Tumblr, Google+. And more importantly, go to Amazon and look for her author page, Catherine Carrigan, and you'll find also all of her books. Get this latest one, and then pile up all the other ones right behind it. And I want to give you an idea of what they are, okay? What is healing? Awaken your intuitive power for health and happiness. Healing depression, a holistic guide. Unlimited energy now. Banish the blues now. Unlimited intuition. Ladies, listen to this. Unlimited intuition now. What is social media today? Very cool. Very cool. Little diversion for her because she's master. Her and her team are master at social media. The difference between pain and suffering was your latest. And we talked about that. There's several episodes of Shedding the Bitch Radio with Catherine, so check all of those out. And, of course, they're available paperback, ebook, and audiobook. Awesome. I am so excited that you're here. All right, we're going to show you the book one more time. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I have been posting this image, as well but posting this image everywhere. Amazon.com, The Little Book of Breathwork. All right? So let's get into this. Oh, before we do, though, I'm sorry, I forgot. Your rich question. We ground our audience in a rich question, what to think about.
Yeah.
So what I just simply came up with, now that I messed up all my papers, what I wanted you to be thinking about is, would you like to learn to breathe easier, literally, and improve your health? I'm simply looking for a yes or a no, expecting a yes. And then I want to meet those who say no, I don't need to. I don't know about you, but I think we can all use healing in some way, shape, or form. So just simply ask yourself that as we talk through this conversation. And if you have any questions, you can always call into the program. I'm keeping an eye on it, 1-818-572-2910. If you're listening to this, download it later. You can always go look for Catherine out on her social media site, but also she's going to be everywhere on our Shedding the Bitch Facebook and Twitter pages, as well as I've been sharing it on LinkedIn, since that's where a majority of my clients will reach out for, and my audience reaches out for advice. So feel free to reach out to her directly, though. because we want you to get some immediate solutions and support. Okay, so very simply, to kick off, why did you write the book?
Well, I'm very motivated to help others and to serve others.
Yes, she is.
And I have 26 years full-time experience in natural healing, but I wanted to put together a tool that someone could use for free anytime, anywhere. And bottom line, if you do the breath routine that I teach you in this book, you can probably cut an anxiety attack in literally half or even more in 8 minutes or less.
Wow.
So I have to tell you the story about how that came about. Because as you mentioned, I've taught yoga now for 24 years.
Mm-hmm.
And when I have to say that before I did yoga, I actually had asthma. And prescribed by a medical doctor, when I was 30 years old, I had to use inhalers. If you've ever had asthma or you've ever had to use inhalers, it's horrible. You feel awful. And I remember I had 2 different kinds of inhalers, and it was actually asthma that motivated me to start exercising. Nobody told me to start exercising, but I thought, I'm a smart person. I thought if I start exercising, at least if I have an asthma attack, I'll have a better lung capacity.
Right.
But I would literally get out of breath walking across the flat parking lot.
Horrible.
So, like a lot of people, I remember I joined the YMCA, and I went swimming. I went to the weight room. I started doing aerobics classes. And all that was wonderful, but I didn't learn how to breathe until I started practicing yoga. So let me go back to how and why I wrote this book.
Okay.
So years ago, I had a client. He was in his mid-30s, and he had kidney failure.
Ooh.
And so if you know anything about high blood pressure, one of the side effects of high blood pressure is that it can damage your kidneys. So there he was roughly about 35 years old. He was married, he had children, and his blood pressure was so bad that even though he took 3 blood pressure medications, they could not get it under control.
Oh, wow.
And he would have to get up at 4 a.m. every day to drive to the kidney dialysis center. So there he was, mid-30s, uncontrolled high blood pressure, kidney failure. He was not able to work, and so he wasn't able to provide a living for his family. And I do, as a medical intuitive healer, I do all my work prayerfully. And I remember praying to God and going, how can I really help this gentleman? So I taught him breathing exercises. Mm-hmm. Because if you have high blood pressure, you're absolutely not breathing properly. And I used to have a device on my computer. Now you can get one on your, connect to your phone from the Institute of Heart Math. And it actually measures your EKG. And if you follow that, what you realize is that people with high blood pressure do not actually exhale properly. Now, if you're listening, you probably think, well, I've been breathing my whole life. I got this far, right? But there's so much that I have to say, so hang in there because this is really important. So anyway, so back to the story. So I remember teaching this gentleman this 8-minute breath routine that I have
created for yourself.
Right? Created for myself. So then I thought, I really wanted him to have it. So I got a friend of mine to take my little iPhone and film me in the garden teaching the breathing exercises. And now you do this, and now you do that. And they're basically 8 different little breathing exercises that you can do, and you do them in a sequence. And anyway, so I taught it to this because I thought he needs to learn how to do this so that because the drugs weren't controlling blood pressure.
Right.
And if you know anything about high blood pressure, the 2 emotions that drive up blood pressure are anger and anxiety. Okay? And, there's systolic and diastolic blood pressure, and one drives up one and the other drives up the other one. And, again, you're not breathing properly. So, anyway, so I really helped him. And then I started to have a pattern of I had clients with really bad anxiety. So let me tell you about another client I had. So I had another client, the lovely lady. She was a gay lady, and her partner, she and her partner had the same name. They'd been together for 26 years. They were the same name, same hairstyle, and one of the partners got diagnosed with a terminal illness.
Oh, ouch.
And so my client, the one without the terminal illness, she had just tremendous anxiety, tremendous depression, and again, it was completely uncontrolled.
Right.
So I'm like, all right, here's what I want you to do. I want you to wake up first thing in the morning and do these breathing exercises. Because let's say you wake up and your anxiety is like an 8, 9, or 10. Well, if you can even turn it down to like a 4, then you can function.
Right. Sure.
Right?
Absolutely.
And,
absolutely.
you know, as a medical intuitive healer, I'm very compassionate. I'm not anti-doctor. I'm not anti-medicine. However, if you know anything about the psychiatric medications, they all have tremendous side effects.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm like, all right, well, this is something that you can do to turn down the volume on your anxiety.
Right.
And I got a 5-star review on my new book by a reader, and they said that they got the ebook, and it made such a difference on their anxiety that they got the paperback in order to use it every day.
Nice.
So I wanted to give someone a tool. So even if you have a wonderful friend or a wonderful coach like Bernadette Boaz, you probably don't want to call Bernadette at 2 a.m., and she's probably not going to pick up at 2 a.m. But we all need to have techniques,
yes,
you know, that we can do first thing in the morning, in the middle of the night, or any time, so you can turn down the volume on the stress.
Right. Okay. All right. So did you get all that? Because I learned tremendous in just that piece of, well, first off, I've never breathed light. And the reason why I know that and say that is as a swimmer growing up. And based on my age, you can imagine, you know, when we were swimming, there was no efficiency that like there is today. To the degree that the best method that they were teaching at the time was you never take a breath. The fastest person that gets across the pool, the 25-meter pool, doesn't take a breath. So I was kind of raised and nurtured because I started swimming at 4 or 5, competitively probably at 6, through my teens into my first year of college, roughly. And it was based on not breathing. So I would go to the gym, and all of a sudden the teacher would always come up to me going, breathe, because I'm turning bright red, you know, whatever. But let's understand something, and it was based on what you just said, but also this comment from one of your clients about the fact that breathing has nothing to do with the lungs. Some people think breathing is done with your lungs. Catherine makes it clear that breathing comes from your entire being. What exactly then, well, what are we doing wrong?
Yeah.
And what is breath work?
Okay. So, all right. So I want to say something. If you don't remember anything that I say during this interview, except for this one thing that I'm about to say, this is what I want you to remember.
All ears.
Okay. So just bear with me here. All right. You have a nervous system. It's got 2 sides. The sympathetic side is the side that responds to stress. Okay. Now we all, you know, it's easy to go into stress. And the reason it's easy to go into stress is that every nerve in your sympathetic nervous system is connected to at least 20 other neurons. Now, you also have this other side of your nervous system called the parasympathetic nervous system, which is the side that allows you to relax. Now, in the parasympathetic nervous system, there's only 1 in 5 neurons connecting. So most of us have to make an effort to relax. Now, here's the thing to understand. If you're constantly stressed, which a lot of us just live on stress, we're living on adrenaline, that leads to adrenal burnout, exhaustion, chronic fatigue. It damages your metabolism. It makes you gain weight around your midsection. It makes you age fast, breaks down your bone, causes osteoporosis, makes your hair turn gray, and suppresses your immune system and hundreds of other things that it's too numerous to mention. So here's what I want you to remember. In any given moment of the day, you can tell which side of your nervous system you are in by the way you're breathing, okay? So if you're breathing, and it's very simple, if you're breathing into your belly, if you can breathe into your belly, then you're accessing the parasympathetic nervous system, right? If you're breathing in your upper chest, you're mostly in the sympathetic nervous system. Now, when we're healthy, we alternate. You make an effort and then you relax, right? That's balance. That's how, you work and then you play. You work and then you rest versus I'm just totally wired all the time, right? And I love your message of shedding and shedding the bitch because it's literally about letting go, right?
Absolutely.
Not holding your breath all the time,
right?
So if you're holding your breath and you're breathing in your upper chest, you're not accessing the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, I'll tell you another story that's also in the book. Years ago, I had a yoga student, and she actually listened to me. Because I talked about how when you keep your breathing balanced, it literally balances your metabolism. Because when you're constantly stressed, you're basically burning sugar all the time.
Okay.
And anyway, long story short, this lady listened to me, and she started doing yoga breathing all day long every day. She lost, I'm not making this up, 22 pounds doing yoga breathing.
Not changing her diet.
No.
Just breathing properly. She came to yoga class once a week. Now, me being me, I would have said, exercise every day and eat better and all that stuff. Right. Well, the one thing she did was she changed her breathing, and she lost 22 pounds. So, and again, this is possible because when you change your breathing, you're literally balancing your nervous system, and that affects literally everything. Well, I would assume so because, like that trainer pointed out to me. Yeah. If I'm sitting there burnt red, beet red, and it, I obviously am not working efficiently, and I'm obviously building up even more stress within myself. Yes. And we'll talk afterwards because I also landed up almost in the hospital right before I was going on vacation, and it has to do with my blood pressure and anxiety and whatnot. I'll share that with you guys. I'm going to give you the book. Well, yay, me! I'll read about it this weekend. Yeah. Because that's how important this is. And I love the fact that when she reached out, and of course I'm always reaching out to her going, okay, what's going on now, and what's the latest book and subject and whatnot. I just knew that this conversation was going to change your life. And maybe, like we pointed out in her example, you can help somebody with asthma, PTSD, a teenager going through a lot of anxiety, because we know they do these days. So anyway, all right. So we're talking about the breath work, but I really want to also have you discuss, because I loved it when I read it, about the affirmations and how they contribute to this process. Okay. Well, let's talk about why affirmations. Okay. So I'm a woman, you're a woman. One of the interesting things about women is that we never. That's one? Yeah. Our brains actually don't shut off. Okay? Yes, men do. Like if you ever been on a car trip with a guy and, there's this period of silence, and you turn to your guy and you go, what are you thinking? And they go, nothing. And you go, as a woman, you go, what do you mean, nothing? Like, how could you not think of anything? So bottom line, as women, we really need to give our minds something to do, right? Okay. And so what I did with the little book of breath work, which is based on my personal practice, I combined breathing exercises, mudras, hand mudras, and I'm going to teach you some really important ones with some affirmations so that you can give your mind something to do. So, for example, one of the mudras in here is for serenity, for increasing serenity, one of my favorite mudras. And some of the affirmations are, I am one with the divine presence within me. I experience peace and serenity. I am serene. I am a light of God's love wherever I go, whoever I am with. I am the light. I live in the light. I choose to channel the highest vibrations for the highest good of all. I am at peace. So basically, but before you go forward, though, I want unless there's something on the tail end of that. But some people, because I get the question, don't even understand what affirmations are because they never have quieted themselves enough. So first, explain what an affirmation is. Okay. So an affirmation is a positive statement. It's positive, meaning it's life affirming. It lifts your vibration. It makes you feel good when you say it.
you say it in the present tense, not like one day I will be happy. One day I will make sense of money. One day it'll all be easy. So, and it's some you want to use an I statement, and I am statements are very, very powerful. So if we combine breathing exercises with hand mudras and positive statements, it can shift your whole vibration.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So that's what she read is one of those affirmations that you could use. So when you're driving the car, when you're just like even when you're involved with others, yet you're feeling yourself go off.
Yeah.
You can kind of just quiet yourself and repeat to yourself one of these affirmations.
Yeah. Now I want to go back to talking about belly breathing because, most of us were taught, we've got to have the tight abs, whatever that is. I wouldn't know. But, anyway, we're taught that they're supposed to be tight. Well, if your abs actually are tight, again, you're not breathing properly. So how do you learn belly breathing? So a couple of simple ways. And especially these are good instructional ways if you do have high blood pressure or if you have a lot of stress in your life. So a couple of ways to learn belly breathing. First way is you can lie on your stomach with your head turned to the side. So if you know anything about babies, a lot of times when they're trying to calm a baby, they'll lie a baby on the belly with their head turned to the side. And just gravity, doing it that way, your belly presses against the floor and you can breathe into the belly. Another way is, let's say you don't want to lie on your belly. Fine. Lie on your back and put a book on your belly. So just a little something, or a pillow, a little bit of weight, so it gives you something to press against. Now, again, here's another really big tip. First of all, you have to understand that your acupuncture meridians end or begin in your hands and your feet. So when I change my hand positions, okay, I'm doing some mudras right now. When I change my hand positions, I'm literally changing the way the energy flows in my body, okay? Now, so if you realize I'm listening to Catherine and I'm breathing into my upper chest, I'm not using my full lung capacity. I know I'm stressed. So you can follow along with me. If you bring your thumb and your first two fingers together like this, that will drop your breath all the way down into your wrist. But when you bring your thumb and the first two fingers together like this, that will help you breathe into the belly.
Really?
Yeah.
Just
so I'm doing those things.
Little adjustments.
Yeah. So, I don't know about you, but, the other thing that we women try to do at least is multitask. And, of course, there's a lot of discussion about whether multitasking is efficient. But let's say you're driving. Let's say you're driving in Atlanta traffic, God forbid, and you realize this is stressful. Okay, well, maybe you can't shut your eyes and go into meditation, but you can use some mudras. Okay, so here I'm going to teach you some simple mudras right now. So this one is called Mushti Mudra, and it's really good for releasing pent-up emotions. So what you do is you take your hand, and I'm going to bring my thumb between my middle finger and my ring finger. Okay, and then I'm going to wrap the other fingers on top of it like that. So my thumb is between my middle finger and my ring finger, and then I rest my hands. Mushti Mudra is really good for releasing pent-up emotions. So I don't know about you all, but I'm human. I get mad, I get sad, and I feel anxious.
Right.
And 100 other so-called emotions.
Yeah.
Because this is just part of the human experience, right? I just had a well-known company work on my house, and they destroyed a whole bunch of things, and it was very stressful.
Ooh,
and it was
very bad.
It was a little tough.
You were moodring all over the place.
I was moodring all over the place. Okay. So my point is that there's life, and life isn't always easy.
Right.
So if you hold the Mushti Mudra and do your breathing, it's going to help you start releasing some of those emotions. Okay. Okay. Now let's see. I love what Bernadette Boas was talking about, giving advice for job interviews. And let's face it, it takes a lot of guts to go out there and tell somebody why they need to hire you and why you're the best. And I want to just take a deep breath
Yes.
and think about it.
Yes.
So there's a mudra called Makula Mudra, and this is for new beginnings. Because if you're starting a new job, it's like you're wanting to, create something new and fresh.
Nice.
Okay?
Nice.
Now, one of my, I'm going to show you some of
And you're always resting them on your...
Yeah, you just want to be relaxed.
Right. Now, let me ask another question, though, because we talked about driving.
Yes.
One hand or two hand are they?
Great question. I'm a little practical, and again, I don't want any of you to have a practical.
No.
That would really be stressful.
Yes.
So just do what you can do.
Right, okay.
And what you'll find is, and again, going back to the mudra that drops your breath into your belly, okay, is even if you can just do one hand, one hand is better than no hand.
Right, correct.
And if you're combining the breathing exercises with the mudras, with the positive affirmations, then you're literally shifting your energy.
Yes.
So I'll tell a personal story. So as I mentioned, I'm human. I go through stress too.
I thought you were a robot.
Anyway, what was interesting was when I was working on my book, I finished the rush draft on it in March, and my accountant made a series of mistakes with.
Ouch.
And anyway, it was this. We just went through this period, and it was actually really stressful. It wasn't any fun, and it was one of these things where I have an accountant and a bookkeeper and me, and as you can imagine, accounting's not my strength. And, I remember meeting with my accountant and saying to her, I'm actually not that stupid. And, so we were all like, who made these mistakes? Well, it was my CPA. But anyway, proving once again that we're all human, no matter how smart we are.
Yes.
But it took us a while to sort of figure it out. But what was interesting was I was editing my book, and every time I read my book, I felt better. I was like, okay. So I would sit there, and I would hold my mudras, and I would feel better. Okay, so another great mudra is peace. So it's for peace. So what you do is you interlace all your fingers together like this, and then you bring your middle finger up. Okay, just like that. And, those of us who grew up in the 60s, we're used to the peace symbol.
Right.
Well, this is actually the mudra for peace.
Oh, nice.
And, again, I've taught yoga for 24 years. Yoga is very popular in this country, and a lot of people know triangle and down dog and child's pose and stuff like that, but we don't know our mudras.
I've never heard of it.
Yes.
That's why I mispronounced it.
Yes, we don't know our mudras, okay?
Awesome.
And this one. Okay, so that one's for mudras. Now, I want to teach you the one, Kubera Mudra, which is a mudra for abundance, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to fold your little finger and your ring finger into the palm of your hand and bring your pointer finger and your middle fingers together with your thumb. So on both hands, you're going to fold your little finger and your ring finger down and then bring your thumb together with your first two fingers. And this is a mudra for abundance.
Oh, here we go, people.
So here's some good affirmations for abundance from my book, The Little Book of Bread Work. God is my supply and my support. The world I experience is the result of the picture within my mind. I now see the divine abundance that is my birthright. I participate in the abundance of the beauty and wonder of the universe. I participate in plenty. I express the true nature of abundance. I channel the frequency of abundance. I have completed the cycle of contracting and now expand my capacity to give and receive. I let go and allow God to provide for me. I feel truly grateful and express my gratitude in ever-expanding ways. I allow my divine spirit to lead me to wonderful opportunities now. I plan for success. I appreciate all my life's blessings and give thanks for all I receive. Now I'm going to shut up for a moment because I could go on.
Right. Yes, you could. But I do have a question first.
Yes.
Is that what you consider one affirmation that somebody would say, or are they picking one of those that makes them feel good at that moment in time and using that short sentence?
Oh, that's a great question. So technically an affirmation is just one statement. And sometimes we really connect with one statement, right?
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
Like when I do healing work, there's a statement that I say all the time, which is, I channel the love of the light within. I'm a clear and perfect channel. Love and light are my guide. So I purposely wrote a series of affirmations, and again, you can just see how holding the mudra, repeating the affirmations, it just literally shifts your whole mindset. Right?
It really does. It really does.
So again, being compassionate as women, we really can't totally shut our brains down.
Yeah.
It's hard. So
good. At least I know now that I'm normal.
Yeah, we are normal. I mean, I've had so many yoga students over the years. They come to me and they wait to the end of class, and they wait till there's no one else around, and they'll say, "I'm thinking," like they're the only one.
Right.
And it's like, it's okay,
right?
You're normal.
Yes.
So you just realize that you've got to give your mind something to do.
Yep.
And by giving your mind something positive to do, you shift out of that negative mindset.
Absolutely. Now I'm going to ask, because I mentioned we're not taking a commercial break, although I am going to grab my iced tea in just a second. She's doing all the talking, and yet I'm thirsty. We're going to talk about that. But I do have a question, because obviously, ladies, and I know we have men that listen to us, but when we put our heads down on the pillow, talk about, not being able to quiet our minds, these, wouldn't you agree, would be great even to do when you're lying in bed.
Absolutely.
So you don't have to be standing, sitting. You can be lying, like she talked about with the car. And we often talk about here on Shedding the Bitch Radio about my routine about first thing in the morning before I jump out of bed. I sit still. I do other things now, but I sit still and assess myself from head to toe and back down to see, okay, how am I emotionally, how am I mentally, physically, spiritually, and if there's anything off, then what I would do, I would add to my prayers and my affirmations that I do, I would add some of this, especially the breathing work. It's phenomenal.
Yeah. Well, Bernadette, you may not realize it, but you were actually doing a very yogic thing. Because what you were doing is you were actually, when you wake up in the morning and you check in, how do I do physically, energetically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, you're reading your 5 bodies.
Right.
And when I do a medical intuitive reading, that's exactly what I do. I read not just your physical body. It's like, okay, what's going on? Okay, you got a virus, your bones are out, whatever. Okay, then your energy body, your chakras, your breath, your emotional body. What's the emotion?
Right.
And again, shifting out of these negative emotions is huge. What's going on with your mind? What are your thoughts? What are your beliefs?
Right.
And, in yoga we say your mind's like a herd of wild horses. I don't know about your mind.
Elephants around here.
I don't know about your mind. Mine must. So, again, it's like you've got to direct them.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what's going on the soul level.
Right.
Right? But the way I actually use this is I'm like you. I wake up in the morning. The first thing I do before I even open my eyes is I start praying. I mean, I can't even tell you how many prayers I say.
Yep.
It's like countless. And then I start doing my breathing exercises. And then I start, again, using affirmations. Because when you consciously begin your day at as high vibration as you can, you literally set the tone for the entire day.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes, absolutely. And you have an opportunity to influence that to be whatever you want it to be.
Yes. And so if I tune in, I mean, like I said, I'm like everybody else. And I remember there was one day earlier this year, I mentioned when my accountant was making mistakes, and my wine cellar flooded. I pumped out my wine cellar for 9.5 hours, and then my accountant took $2,000 out of my QuickBooks, and I'm like, ugh. Talk about not breathing, right?
Really?
Yeah. Then I was like, okay, you're writing this book. Sit there. Read your book.
Practice what you preach.
Yes. And so I also talk about how to use the book, because in the book I teach you a little 8-minute routine called the 8 minutes to inner peace.
Awesome.
And this is the breath work routine that I taught to the gentleman with high blood pressure whose kidneys were failing. And it's basically 8 little breathing exercises, again, that you can do anytime, anywhere. They're going to shift your whole vibration.
Okay.
And by the way, I also need to say that, as you learn this, you're going to be a beginner.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to be a beginner. And when you're a beginner, you may suck and it may be difficult. It's okay. So just realize, just by trying to do the breathing exercises, you're going to be shifting your vibration, right?
Yep.
And again, if you've gone for years of high blood pressure, more than likely you haven't been exhaling properly for years. So, again, it's okay. Just do what you can do. So anyway, you can do the 8 minutes inner peace. And then sometimes there's particular little mudras that you may really connect to.
Right. Yes.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's some little affirmations that you really, really connect to. And so here's another one that I'm going to teach you, and it's one for enlightenment. So maybe you're a listener and you're like, I'm perfect. I have no accounting problems.
It's too woo-woo for me.
Yeah, my wine cellar isn't leaking. I'm good. Okay, so here's one for enlightenment. You interlace your fingers, and then you bring your pointer fingers together like that. And that is for enlightenment. And that's really what is enlightenment. It's literally about lifting your vibration as high as you can get it, right?
Isn't this what they use in yoga?
Yeah.
That you bring over your head?
Yep, that's one of the things that we'll do. And so, again, you have to realize that when you take the time to do breathing exercises and prayer and really set your intention to be in as positive frame of mind as you can, it's good for you.
Absolutely.
But you're also affecting literally everybody around you.
Well, however you put yourself out in the world is how the world's going to feel it, see it, experience it, and respond to it.
Right.
Yes. So why not?
Yeah. So, for example, one of my clients made a really wise comment because I've been encouraging her to get back to dating. And she said, Catherine, I'm not in the right vibration right now. And she's gone through a lot of stress. Okay, she's working on it. She's doing a good job. But again, whatever you vibrate at is what you attract. So you want to get the great job. You want to make the most money. You want to get the best guy. You want to feel good. You want to have wonderful friends like Bernadette. Well, you want to lift your vibration. And then you're going to attract the best in life. So here are some affirmations. I raise my vibration now for the highest good of all. I allow the highest and best vibrations to flow through me and to me. I yield to divine wisdom. I now release the grip of my ego and allow my soul to guide the way. My ego steps aside to make way for the divine wisdom of my soul. I show up and get my ego out of the way.
Oh, that's an even better one.
I allow my will with divine will. I allow God to work through me in mysterious ways. I'm a clear and perfect channel for divine love and light. I welcome divine light and shine forth for the highest good of all. So, again, you can see just by listening, it's shifting your whole mindset in the way that you feel.
Right.
So you're calming yourself. You're opening yourself up to I am possible.
Yep.
To all the possibilities.
Okay, so wow. I'm glad we're doing this in my studio, and she actually lives, we talked about this before, she lives right down the street from me. So it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. But I'll have tons of questions for her personally after this program. And if you do too, again, reach out to her. And what would you want the best direct line for them to reach out to you?
So you can visit my website, CatherineCarrigan.com. While you're there, definitely sign up for my newsletter so you can learn even more about how to heal yourself naturally. Mm-hmm. I also run the Natural Healing Show on UK Health Radio. I interview Bernadette, all kind of cool people who are experts on natural healing from all over the world.
Right. And you talked about the fact that, yes, this is a handbook. And what I love about Catherine and her book is they're not just books for reading. They're books for applying. They're books for doing. They're books for actually making an impact from page 1 on what you're doing and who you are at this very moment in time. And again, like she said, it don't take time. You don't shift. You don't turn on or turn off, on a dime. it takes time. So just be patient with it. But that's what I love about it, is that they are handbooks. But beyond this, as you mentioned an ebook, but beyond that, what are other ways that people can work with you? So they don't think it's just in person, and yet I live in Australia or I live in New York.
So I work with people all over the world by phone, Skype, and Zoom video conference. Mm-hmm. So I worked this afternoon with somebody in California. So, people from literally all over the world. And again, if you email me, Catherine at CatherineCarrigan.com, I'm happy to set up an appointment with you.
And then just mention Shedding the Bitch. Just say, oh, my God, you did such a fabulous job on Shedding the Bitch radio. And, of course, we are, as a reminder, we are going to post this video of our lovely faces. It'll go up on YouTube and Facebook and Twitter and everywhere else as well. So you can take in the conversation physically, visually, as much as you can download it, Apple Podcasts, blogtalkradio.com, or sheddingthebitch.com, and take us with you wherever you go and listen to us anytime. Repeat this, especially if you walked through already, and we're not done yet. I'm just kind of giving you a recap. But she's walked through many, many tips and pieces of advice and processes, so to speak, already. So there's things that you can immediately start working on. And I would advocate actually the video, because as you can't hear this or see this while you're listening to it, but I was doing the same mudras. Did I get it right?
Yeah, you did.
Yay. As she was walking through them herself. And therefore, you can see how they're supposed to be done. And hopefully our hands were raised up high enough. If not, that's okay. You have the little handbook.
And there's photographs.
And what's lovely, too, because you'll see this if you do check out the video. I always make this comment, and I always embarrass her. But you can't help but smile when you see her, because she's just very calming, and she always has a big smile on her face. So I noticed that throughout the book, there's a photo of her introducing chapters, and of course I can't find one when I want one, and it's lovely. Of course I can't find it when I want it.
Yeah, well, what was
it's there somewhere?
Yeah. So I basically picked the 16 photo mudras that I use most often and recommend most often that are really going to help, again, shift you out of a negative state.
Yep.
Okay, and shift you into, that's Anjali Mudra. So, we've all done Anjali Mudra.
Even if you didn't know that you were doing it, that's what you were doing.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, awesome. All right. If you would hand me my iced tea, I'm going to ask you a quick question.
Yes. Okay, good.
We're very fluid here in Shedding the Bitch Radio. We're not going to have time to go through them, but I would love to understand kind of a summary of the 10 principles of enlightenment.
All right. Hand me my book. So I don't make a mistake, because
now, again, we might not have time to go through all of them. The book, Amazon.com, the little book of breathwork.
Right. So in my book, I talk about how in order to do anything better, you have to think differently. So let's say you're going out for a job interview, right? Mm-hmm. Well, as they say, if you do what you've always done, you're going to get the same result.
It's called insanity.
It's insanity. And so I talk about how you need to think differently in order to breathe differently.
All right.
So the first principle is inhale, but even when you're inhaling, it's like you think about, what am I inhaling? Peace, love, prosperity, kindness.
I don't even think when I'm inhaling, so that's just a revelation in itself.
Yeah, because the truth is there's no vacuum in the universe, right? It's all here, right? It's all one energy. It's all good. So I'm breathing in new possibilities, new clients, new money, new friends. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the second principle is exhale. And when you think about exhaling, what are you letting go of? It's literally a letting go. Stress, tension, anger, anxiety, mistakes, accounting mistakes.
You're really need to let that go.
Exactly. Right.
She's just using it as an example.
It's an example. Okay, the third thing you do is breathing in a circle. Now, what's really interesting is if you learn to breathe in a circle, you can make yourself happy like that. Okay?
Okay.
So what do I mean by breathing in a circle? If you pay attention, you inhale, and there's a pause, and then you exhale and a pause. So simply by focusing and bringing your mindfulness to your breath, when you bring an equal length to your inhale and exhale, so you're literally breathing in a circle, 4 counts in, 4 counts out, and when you do that, you're balancing the two sides of the nervous system, sympathetic and parasympathetic, and you move your whole mind, body, spirit into a happy state. So it's a really, again, maybe you're not anxious, maybe you're not depressed, maybe your wine cellar didn't flood, maybe you just want to feel happier. So by breathing in a circle, you can do that. You can shift in that.
Okay, wait. I have a very quick story. Right before vacation, the reason why I went to the hospital, my doctor's not really the hospital, was I was out without air conditioning in here for like 3 weeks due to, that's a long story, and money lost. And it's a relatively small space, and it was like 90 plus degrees in Atlanta. So obviously, and then traveling out in the heat and whatnot. So obviously, it was severely the anxiety plus the heat, and I could just feel my whole body was just hot for those 3 weeks. And I thought I was drinking enough and whatnot. But I also, a friend of mine, I go to pickleball, and I'm like sweating profusely. And she had, kind of pulled me aside, and she's just like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just overheated from." She's like, "Well, you're also not breathing." Now, I hadn't been told that since swimming, since I was a kid. So I'm like, "What do you mean I'm not breathing?" She goes, "You just seem to be like breathing in and then just holding it until you then stop, and then you breathe. And so you could go without breathing." And I'm just like, "Yeah, that's why I'm sweating up a storm." And, so it was very interesting, that all of this is coming in at this time, because it was very evident as the impact of not breathing properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you look at the EKG of someone with high blood pressure, they inhale, and it goes up, and then you're like, and there's no exhale. It's very interesting, and you can see it. And again, if you're listening, another good tip, the Institute of Heart Math makes a little device that you can attach to your phone. And so, again, if you've got high blood pressure, if you've got anxiety or insomnia, you can use that, and it's a feedback device, and you can breathe along to that.
Is it a physical thing that attaches to your phone, or it's an app that you load onto your phone?
It's an app.
Oh, okay.
And then it comes with a little device that you attach to your ear.
Oh, and that's what's tracking your EKG, obviously.
Yeah, and then attached to here.
Oh, I love that.
So, this is all tools.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right. We're gonna post that as one of the many tips that we're gonna share following this program. But Institute of Heart Math. Right. Because I put math.
Yeah.
So Heart Math.
It's about $150, something like that.
Well worth it if it keeps you healthy.
Yeah, it's the free stuff in my book doesn't, although you can download the audiobook for like less than $5.
I know, but you want the handbook. You want anything that you can use to kind of literally see and all that kind of good stuff.
Yeah.
So get all of it.
And using the mudras, because you may find a mudra in here that just changes your life.
Right.
Right.
Right. Yep, absolutely. Was there a couple of more? We have a couple of minutes.
Yeah.
That you would want to mention in regards to the principles? I know.
Yeah, I think that here's another big one. So a lot of times when you really are going through a hard time in your life, like your wine cellar's flooded and your accountant, got your
growing up,
and you're just like, how much money do I have? And, will there ever be an end to the floods in my basement? So one of the things I talk about is containing your experience.
Okay.
So what do I mean by that? So a lot of us turn to drugs, alcohol, food, overworking, overexercising, like hundreds, shopping, all kinds of addictions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, we do.
And whatever your addiction is, whether it's legal or illegal, whether you're taking legal drugs or illegal drugs, my observation is that it's all about avoiding your experience. It's like, this is painful. It's difficult. It's worrying when you don't really, is my wine cellar going to stop flooding? how much money do I have? It's all worrying. So when you contain your experience, what I mean by that is you set aside time, whether it's 30 seconds or 3 minutes or 30 minutes, where you give yourself permission to feel how you really feel.
Break down, scream,
yes.
yell,
you cry,
throw things.
Exactly. You get mad, whatever, and then you shift your vibration, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I'm going to get up, take my dog for a walk, go work out, go play pickleball. So by setting aside a little ritual time, whether it's first thing in the morning, before you go to bed, where you literally breathe through what's really going on underneath, you develop, when you contain the experience, you expand your ability to handle life. Because life isn't always easy.
No, it is not.
Right?
Yep.
And sometimes you really are having panic attacks.
Mm-hmm.
I've had panic attacks. It's no fun. But when you realize that you are strong enough to breathe through whatever God has given you, then you feel stronger about yourself.
Yep.
It's like, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm a woman. I'm brilliant. I'm strong. I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to breathe through it. And then when I breathe through it using my affirmations and my mudras, then it shifts your whole view of yourself.
Absolutely.
It's
Absolutely.
like, I'm a rock star. I can do this.
Yes, she is.
Like, you're a rock star. You can do this.
Yeah.
So you contain your experience. And again, whether you can only handle feeling the anger or anxiety for like 3 minutes or 30 seconds and then shift out of it, it's like, maybe I don't need all these drugs.
Right. Yeah. Give it a shot.
Right?
I mean, I am really going to, and I'm committing it right here. I'm committing that I'm going to give this work and then go back. I do have some tests tomorrow. We'll talk about it after we're done.
Yeah.
But, and then I'm going to see, in 3 months when I have to go back for my follow-up in 3 months, kind of where everything is at.
Yeah.
So this is perfect time.
Yeah.
So I'm so thrilled you're here.
Thank you. Here.
Okay, so I need to make sure remind everybody. All right, the little book of breath work. You can find it on Amazon, and then check out her other books as well. Go under her author page, and you'll find Catherine Carrigan. Just Google her, and you'll find her Twitter page and Facebook page. It was at CatherineCarrigan.com to reach out to Steph if you want any immediate support or you want to work with her. Short-term, long-term, whatever the case might be. Doesn't matter where you live, as she mentioned. She does Skype and Zoom and all those other things. And she has clients from around the world. All right? I am so glad to have had you to have this conversation. You're going to impact many millions of lives. So we'll be sure to get this out there and share it. And, of course, Deborah of Parker House Virtual Services, she's out there listening to the program and tweeting and Facebooking as well. So we'll make sure you all have all the information. And then I'll look forward. I'm back. And I'll look forward to having you right back here next Tuesday at noon Eastern time for another episode of Shedding the Bitch Radio. Thanks, everybody.
And just remember, you're strong enough to breathe through it.
Oh, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Shedding the Bitch Radio with Bernadette Bose. Join Bernadette every Tuesday at noon Eastern as she helps you shift your bitches to riches. And the dialogue is always going on at sheddingthebitch.com. See you next week.